Now look, I was already planning on doing this before we got our little information dump a couple days ago. Makes it even better to go ahead and do this now. Okay. And it'll give y'all a little bit more information if what dropped in the last video wasn't enough for you. Right. Before I get into it, because I already know it's gonna be people in the comments, hey, you left out this person and that person, and oh well, really this person is real good. This is all based on my play style and my opinion and what works for me. You know what? Because I don't think I'm gonna make it a full video. We hit legend, by the way. Finally, we're here. I know it was a lot of people saying legend is no big deal, peak is no big deal. That's gonna be another thing about me that y'all will get as we go on. I play these games a little different, okay? And I say these games because it's not even just this 2K, Rainbow Six, Marvel Rivals. I told y'all I be talking about all the different games I be on. I'm in this game and shit for real, okay? And one thing that's important about me when I'm playing the game is I don't have a lot of time to play the game for real. Or to specify rather, I play so many games that I don't have a lot of time to sink into one specific game for real. On my PS5, I got way too way too many games. On here on mobile, I have way too many games. I'm gonna probably throw up a little screenshot showing all of them. That way, if there's any other ones y'all want to see, just drop it down below and we'll see what we could do about that. But yeah, I play all this a lot and I don't have a lot of time. So where a lot of people were saying legendary, peak, all that is real easy if you play this specific way and you just sink a ton of time into the game and it's really just about how long you play and how much you play, not really uh how good you are, anything like that. For me, it's a little bit different because playing less means that my games are a lot more important. I have to be winning a lot more often than I'm losing. I have to be a lot better than probably the average person that's just hopping on and saying, yeah, mathematically, if I play enough games, regardless of how many I lose or how bad I am, eventually I can get there. My way is more, I I don't have a whole lot time wise to put in. So I got to make sure I'm doing my thing when I'm hooping. You feel me? Or playing Call of, not Call of Duty. We ain't on it this year. Battlefield, Rainbow Six, like I said, all that different stuff. Now, the other thing about it is I also like to play my way. Okay, I don't know how much y'all can see from the clips when y'all be watching it and all that, but I don't use all the meta characters and everything like that. Like a lot of people are saying, yeah, if you just take one of these meta bigs like Rodman, Malone, Wallace, or something like that, and go in there, you're gonna hit peak easy. Yes, that's true. Because if you play big, you're at way less risk of how bad your teammates are. Um, and while that's true, I take pride. Call it ego, call it whatever you want. I like to know that I can beat people the way that I want to beat people. You feel me? I like to know that I can play the way I want to play and still get the result that I want without having to do what I found on YouTube or got from some guide or something like that from somebody. That's why in the guides that I drop for y'all, I don't tell y'all specifically, hey, play this way, do this specifically, do this, because I want to promote freedom, creativity. I feel like the people that have their mind to think for themselves and kind of do their own thing end up being a lot more competition than the people who are just doing the meta. Because the meta is some shit that you already see on a regular basis. You're used to it. I get bored of playing against it and using it when I did try it when I was really on that. Now it's like, yeah, I'd rather have fun, but I have too much of a competitive edge to have too much fun. So I still, you feel me? I be on this ranks thing and trying to do what I can. But that's a little bit about me, just so y'all know. Okay. Because I don't be wanting people to think I'm getting on them or nothing like that when they do respond in the comments. I'm a cool dude for real. But that competitive side to me is there. And it's why I play these games for real. Now, with that being said, my top four, in my opinion, we're gonna start with some honorable mentions. You know, Wimby, he can technically ISO and he's solid. Wade, you could say he could technically ISO, he's solid. You feel me? Even Tatum, it's a lot of people that you could technically throw in there. LaMelo is, we're gonna start with Harden at number four. Okay. And the reason that Harden goes number four, we're gonna break this down into three categories to make it simple. We got shot creation slash space creation. It's pretty self-explanatory. How well can you create a shot for yourself, create distance between you and your defender? We got consistency, which is not how they rate it in this game, as I found out like 2 weeks ago. It's not what they consider consistency in here if you look at their description, but actual consistency. How consistent are you once you're creating that space? Because that matters. All that space creation don't matter if you're not hitting the shots once you get open. You feel me? So how consistent are you when you're getting open? And then lastly, reliability. This one, I'm gonna be a little bit like I gotta go a little deeper on this one because it's gonna sound crazy, but y'all gotta understand this. Listen to my play style, okay? Listen, because I play these hooping games for real. Reliability on here, I'm referring to how much can your teammates trust you to do your job. So as the ISO player on the team, how much can they trust you to create that distance and hit those shots game to game, no matter what situation you in? There are good defenders in this game, really good defenders. You got to be able to do this when they're guarding you too, because that's what you're going to see as you get higher and higher in ranks. You feel me? You're not always going to be playing against people that's just straight offense. They're going to usually switch somebody onto you or just straight double you. I know y'all done heard that one. A lot of people like to say that. That's the answer for everybody that come out that got anything more than two buttons to they dribbling. Yeah, just double them. For you to be a good ISO player, you got to be able to handle that. And that doesn't mean you always have to try to keep on dribbling and find a shot whenever you're getting doubled or you have a good defender on you. That kind of just comes down to IQ and skill, but that's a personal thing that don't have nothing to do with the characters in game. Okay. But how reliable can these characters be if you're solid with them in those tougher situations in the game? Okay. And you'll kind of understand it a little more as I get my examples through when we're talking about the players. So with Harden, easily shot creation is up there. Okay. He's missing something that the other three have, and that's the reason that he goes at number four. But his shot creation is pretty solid. Okay. It wasn't as crazy before, but since his buff, the amount of distance that he can cover on the court is ridiculous. It's pretty nasty. The only reason, well, not even only, there's a couple. The couple reasons that his shot creation to me is not as good as other people is because doubling him or a good defender that just like he can only go left or right with his dribbles. If I'm not mistaken, okay, and we can try this out now. Let's do this live. When you go into his skip dribble, yes, you can dribble out of it now, right? But it's like these. Okay. We always got to mess up the first one. So you go into the skip and then you go there like that. And those first two, I'm almost positive they have to be in the same direction. Almost positive. Let's see. Yeah. No matter what you do, the first dribble you do is going to take you in whichever way you're aiming. Second one is going to dash you that way again. Third one, you have the option to spin back the other way or keep going. Now, you can do another skip dribble out of that back into a double step back if you want to, or restart the combo. I think it won't let you do it straight out of the first skip dribble, but it'll let you like reset after you do another one and then do it again. Point is, a Kawhi Leonard, a Drew Holiday, any of the characters that have a dash skill where they can run up to you and stop you and interfere while you're dribbling, or just straight up run up to you and steal it, he's one of the easiest people, or basically the easiest person on this list to be able to stop that way. On top of that, knowing kind of where his direction is going to go, it's a lot easier to double team him because one person is kind of just going towards you, waiting for the step back. The other person is doing all the left right with you until they get to wherever you are. But it's pretty easy to stop. Now, he's still higher than what players would be lower on this list. Some are honorable mentions because his consistency is up there. I think, let me see, is his first enhancement important for that? Harden's 3-point accuracy increases by 2. Absolutely. Okay. So, with one enhancement, because I'm pretty sure his E6 just decreases contest zone, which obviously helps, but it's you don't have to have it if you're taking smart shots. His consistency can be fairly high, uh, not for needing a whole lot. Probably the highest consistency on the list. I will give him that. But as mentioned before, his reliability, as you're playing against some of those better defenders, or you're just playing against better teams where they know when to double and where to double right, it comes down way more to person by person, player and skill level, rather than the character being good enough to just carry you through those situations. And not even necessarily carry you, but like I said, as we point out some of the other guys, you'll kind of see why it's a lot easier on them, a lot harder to do on Harden. Okay. So number 4, consistency, his best attribute, reliability is solid, and shot creation is just not elite, but it's good. Okay. Well, we get to number 3, and it might be a little bit of a surprise to some people, but yeah, it's gonna be Iverson. Okay, even though he's been my main since he came out, there was all this hype and excitement around him. Look, all right, he's in a category with some demons. Okay, we talk about the best ISO players. Now, his shot creation is gonna be weird because no, he's not creating as much distance as Harden is, not as fast. Because with his dribbles, they're real quick, more shifty, real back and forth, but he's dribbling within his own little like box for real. You can work your way to the around the court, going to one side or the other side, but because of the way his crosses work, it's going to take you some time, right? But not having to telegraph his shot like Harden does with his step back. Because everybody knows when Harden is dribbling, it doesn't matter what dribble move he's doing, you know, until he does that little, until he takes that 1 foot back, you know he's not a threat to be shooting. Versus Iverson, who can pull up at any point in his dribble combo with a nasty contest zone shrink. Ridiculous. I've made some things I shouldn't have. And you can do that at any time and from anywhere. And because of the amount of variation in his combos, his reliability is still up there too. I haven't met a whole lot of people on certain defenders. Like, I don't even pay attention to who's defending me when I use Iverson. I don't care. Power forward, center, small forward, Kawhi, Drew, CP3, Jason Kidd, Braun, it doesn't matter. I think the only person I've had any type of issue with is Andrew Wiggins, and that's just because people found out about him and his little passive and everything, and they'll jump on purpose and then try to bait you into shooting a shot when you think you're going to be open. But on Iverson, all you have to do is keep on dribbling. That's it. It's pretty simple. There's a little bit of skill required, but it might be biased. I don't know. But I'm not the type of person that feels like I'm too crazy at the game. So I feel like if I can get him down, I feel like other people can get him down for real. I don't think you need a whole lot to be able to know how to handle yourself under pressure. And then as far as double teams go, like I said, that is not really something that works. They can try, but he has his little ability. What is it called? It's not just straight up his passive. I think it's actually one of his advanced talents. I know it's here. A way of survival, yeah. Where if you do bump into somebody, you're just gonna back out and dribble instead of, how everybody else would pick up the ball and be forced into potentially giving up a steal. You're just gonna dribble back out of it and then can potentially just go right back into your combo. Ridiculous. I think he does have to have his offensive passive active for it to be triggered, but still, it activates almost all the time. Anytime you do a drive and somebody isn't still guarding you, you avoid contact with them, you get into your passive. Then it'll reset. But if you're still dribbling, you're not going to notice and you'll have it again before you know it. So, reliability up there, shot creation up there. He loses in his consistency. That's what brings him down to number 3 because it's actually the worst out of all of them. And for a shooting guard, that's not good because him and Harden are the only shooting guards on this list. Unfortunately, if his consistency was higher, he might actually be broken. And I feel like they knew that, so I'm not mad at him. Like I said, the way his contest zone works, the speed to his pull ups and his dribble moves and everything with the variation, plus the way his alt works, I'm not mad at the consistency, but if we're talking unbiased about the character, it definitely hurts him. Okay. Harden, you can take straight threes every game. You don't have to take any twos. You got a good enough matchup where you're confident that you can get them hoes off. You can shoot 5 or 6 of those, and you're gonna make most of them. At least in my experience. Iverson talked about this before. If you're using him specifically just shooting from 3, you are going to have some tough games where you get very mad about the game and the character. You gotta be mixing in some twos and getting your shot variation in there if you really want to be effective from 3 when you're using. If you do it properly, you definitely can chain together some really solid games of shooting from 3, but it's not the easiest thing to do. It's kind of hard. Okay. So, all of that being said, consistency, the main part that hurts him, best attribute probably being his reliability, and his shot creation is solid. Okay. Now to the point guards. Number 2, we got Shea. All right. And I'm a little hurt, you know. Somebody had to take the hit when the news came out. Halliburton is on the way. I had to reset somebody. So I got my cards ready. And I got enough now. But we had to go ahead and reset Shea, man. And at some point, Harden might get reset, so I can put that on Shea. We're gonna see how that whole process goes. But Shea is at number two. As much as I glaze Iverson, because all of his ratings go crazy. His shot creation is currently the best in the game. You can create so much distance in space. And the variation in his dribble moves makes it to where, like, as long as you're solid and you know what you're doing, you almost should never be taking a contested shot for real. Because he has the contest zone very similar to Iverson. His jumper is fairly fast. And again, unlike Harden, he has a non-telegraph shot. So there's not a move that lets you know, oh, he's finna pull up right now. You just have to go guess based off of when he thinks he's open. But because of how many times he can dribble, you can make sure you're open and then get even more open and then pull it. Like, you can genuinely toy with people. Infinite dribbles. Like I said, crazy contest zone, fast pull up shot. So, yeah, shot creation is not a question. Best in the game. When you're talking about his consistency, even though it's not the best, I would honestly say it's very close to Iverson. Like, you will have some bad games. I have had some bad games, but the bad games I've had from three on Shea haven't been too different than the bad games I've had from three on Iverson. And especially if you decide to get him at E6. I did get him at E6 at one point. And then I reset it sometime later on because I figured I wasn't gonna be maining them anymore. I don't remember who it was even for. But with the enhancements, if you're using his ultimate right, the way his dribble moves work, all that, his consistency is insane. Automatic twos and some. When I say guaranteed threes, I'm not saying obviously we know you can miss some of them, but when I tell you how easy it is to create those 3-point attempts, like, that's the part that puts him over Iverson. The fact that, yeah, you might hit one or two more on Iverson, but how easy were those 3-point shots to create compared to Shea? Even with his bump, if you don't go straight into the fade and you do play around with it and you can create threes even easier out of that. Like, yeah, his whole kit is tough. It's tough. So consistency also fairly high. It's not Harden. It's not Steph, but he's not far behind him. And reliability, obviously, we've already talked about it. The variation he has in his dribble moves, the quick pull up, the contest zone, the bump. He has too many tools realistically for you to be able to double or use a solid defender on him. Again, similar to Iverson, anytime I'm using Shea, I don't really care if there's a Kawhi, Paul George, Bron 16. I don't care. Jimmy Butler. I don't care. It don't matter. In fact, it's better playing against them because they'll throw themselves out the way with a steal. Or your Giannis's that are just gonna jump when they're on side of you at one point because they think you open. And you dash to the side a little bit more while they in the air. Like, you can genuinely toy with people. It's ridiculous. Now, all of that being said, why is he at number two? And at this point, if you're still watching, you came to hear Halliburton Glaze, so you can't even get mad at me at this point. Okay, you didn't have plenty of time. You stayed because you wanted to hear this. And yes, at number one, Tyrese Halliburton. Why is that? How do you know that he's not even out yet? Well, if you've seen some of the gameplay, I want to say I put it on my Shaq and accessories video, or it may have been my video before that. I think it was in my Kyrie video. Okay, one of the two videos. You can go check both of them out. Leave a little like on, um, one of the two videos. I'm playing with some Tyrese Halliburton gameplay in the background, and from his abilities and everything like that. If you haven't gotten an understanding, think of him as like a mix of Shea and Harden. Okay. A lot of variation to his dribble moves, lot of space that he can create with a significantly faster pull up when he pulls up out of these dribble animations. And he is our first shot canceller that can go any direction out of his shot cancel. And he creates enough distance, his contest zone shrinks so much, and his pull up again speeds up so much that when he does his double step back, you just about have to contest it based on depending on what move he did before it. But he has this wild ass jump backwards that he can do and then go into the step back. If at any point he pulls that and you don't run towards him and jump, you're fried. And even when we put him in the categories, okay, shot creation, I just told you, insane, nuts. It's going to be better than anybody that we have right now. You might say Shay's is a little better because you can infinite dribble versus Halliburton's. You are going to have to wait after that second double step back. If you don't decide to pull that, you are going to have to wait on a cooldown. But okay, with what you're able to do before that cooldown comes around, it shouldn't matter. All right, his shot creation is nuts. On top of this, his consistency, his three ball comes like 20 higher than Shay's. And I just told you what you can be like with Shay's consistency. His three ball comes in higher. And that's before you put potentials and everything like that on there. And if it's anything like what it's been like when I play with him on Taiwan, I don't have a lot of bad games from three with him. I might miss one or two. I'll make 3 or 4 in a row. Not to mention his ultimate has to be blocked. Doesn't matter if you can test it, you can look me dead in my face. Mistime your jump if you want to. You don't block that hoe, it's going in, guaranteed. From mid range and from deep. So the consistency, not a question. Insane. What do we got left? Reliability? Well, the problem is when you have somebody that can force defenders to have to play a certain way, you can force them into having to jump if you going into certain dribble combos, plus an alt that has to be blocked. What do people do? You can double. He has some insane passes, and if I'm not mistaken, I have to go through all his abilities and stuff when he actually gets here. We're not test server yet, but we on the way. If I'm not mistaken, his pass zone It's so crazy that if you fuck around and double, he doesn't even throw bad passes. It's not gonna be like no long pass that might get stolen or anything like that. No. He can be straight mid dribble and he straight out that. On top of that, I haven't even talked about his inside stuff. He has a crazy layup package where I think he like self oops it off the goal and he can throw it out from that. He can pass out of that. And again, if I'm not mistaken, one of his enhancements, he boosts teammates with his passes. So he's like a genuine playmaker for real, while also one of the craziest offensive characters we've seen on this side of Dunk City Dynasty. So that being said, reliability, you know where it's at. And this is why he was at number one. Call it what you want to. This is gonna be the number one king of ISO, and maybe until the only competition might be Edwards and Prime Rose, and I have to see what they look like on our side if they might change anything about them. I know people like T Mac, and he does look good, but I see him from what I've seen of him on Taiwan, he still has to pass out of a lot of his stuff. He's kind of like James Harden. Like if his main combo doesn't work or maybe break an ankle, he has to kind of like pass out and reset versus Shea, Iverson, Halliburton. Well, Halliburton can kind of have to pass out depending on what defenders you playing. Okay, I will give you that. But that's like high ranks, top of the line. You feel me? You know, y'all be complaining about your teammates. You know how people play defense on here. It ain't gonna be nobody locking Hallie down yet. But man, this is our longest video so far. So if you made it this far, uh, what's something I could say? Comment like, what's a random NBA player? Somebody wouldn't just think of. Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, comment Thanasis if you made it this far. I appreciate y'all watching, man. We have just about a week now until Hallie gets here. Y'all boys get your tickets and gems up, man. I got mine. I'm ready. Like I said, I got my talent cards. I got my superstar tickets now. I got everything I need. I'm ready for it. Make sure you are. I'll catch y'all in the next one, man.